am trying to express how gnarly everything is right now. The amount of stuff that's happening, the amount that's like somewhat interesting, even if you have like a bare minimum knowledge of what the hell is going on. Excited to bring you some more news. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to number 2. Like the show number 2, not the other. Anyway, even when things go sideways, the industry survives because people stay in it. Every time you've seen someone shift from working with one company to another, it's in Web3. Whenever you shift and see one community member sell out of one collection or community, they go into another one. It is this ever evolving pattern. And one of the reasons that the crypto and NFT space really keeps on chugging. And so I've decided that every day I shall champion a positive atmosphere. And it makes me think of Game of Thrones when they needed a champion, and Sir Bronn of the Blackwater was there. And so is Pedro Pascal's character in a little bit later. We've highlighted parts of this episode earlier. Today we're up to 11 views in a day. Not too shabby. I'm Dolly. What's going on? How are we doing? Are you feeling good? Because I'm feeling absolutely electric. So this is at 7 minutes in there, which is... Okay, so Mr. Jean-Michel talks about how we can onboard the next 1 million people. And I know that's absolutely crazy. I know, why the hell are we thinking that that's going to be possible? Come on, we're feeling bearish, right? Well, take a listen. Here's what he had to say on it. Let me get back to you. When you say that you want to onboard 1 million new collectors, it's bold, but again, the world's, multiple billions of people, so 1 million is, not too bad. What do you think the most important lever on that is going to be for getting people onboarded? Is it technology? Is it education, partnerships, or something else?
That's what basically kept me awake at night for the past 3 years now. And even before I actually launched Well Capital, I've thought of it for maybe 2 years. Before I answer that question, I wanted to do two things and to say two things. First thing is that having been at Ledger relatively early, I joined them when they were a very small startup, like 15 people, late 16, and I left early 23. And I was not a crypto maximalist when I joined them. I really joined them because...
Can you imagine working for Ledger? Imagine working for Ledger before they went like truly mainstream and not really being like that into crypto. I feel nowadays, if you're not like actively within the space, you just wouldn't get a job in most places.
I liked the team. I found them relatively, small, but they were doing something interesting that I was not able myself to say, okay, I can copycat what you guys are doing and with just a couple of million just do what you're doing, which at the time in the fintech world was relatively usual. And basically by being a kind of outsider to the crypto space, I basically found interesting, and I found also something which is nowadays, this is now a market of like what? For 400 million people who own crypto in the world. I don't know the last figure. And then when I joined, there was probably less than 1 million. Was it less interesting back then? No, it's just that it was early. And there is this Roger adoption curve, where we as humans, we are social animal and we all behave the same way. And we have a very special way to look at things. And when something is new, a small portion of us will be interesting. A little small portion that's slightly bigger will be intrigued and eventually come. And the larger portion will come, but later because they don't understand and they don't want to take any risk.
And what do we count ourselves on? So if we got 3 waves of people and we were some of the first and second, what happens when that third wave hits? If you want to hear the rest of that again, it's up on my bio on X or down in the description below here on YouTube. One thing that I've seen every single day for the past 3 days is people coming through and making price predictions for coins. So if you want to do this yourself, you can go to coingecko.com and look for their compare cryptocurrencies tool. If you just type in CoinGecko compare cryptocurrencies, you'll be able to find it. And so if we want to be like, all right, well, what if XRP catches up to Ethereum, because people are making that notion? Okay, well, it would do a 3x from there. And if we want to go and look at, well, what is Ethereum going to do if it ends up actually flipping Bitcoin, which some people are saying, oh, maybe that could happen. Oh, it goes to a 4x. And then we get into all of this stuff. And the reason why I'm highlighting this is because the speculative nature is back. You see some of the negativity on the timeline for sure. Absolutely. El comprendo. But I don't know. When people break out the crypto compare tool, that lets me say people are feeling excited and a little bit bullish. Vert, Soulbound TV. We had Pirate Nation that was closing up shop a little bit earlier, at least for part of their game. They're still going with proof of play. If you missed the stream earlier today, would love for you guys to check that out. And of course, if you're able to share, like the stream, comment afterwards, if that's your thing, I'd love to see you. They announced that they ran out of funds at the start of this year, and now they will close all their operations. Here is what they did in the past few months when they allegedly didn't have any funds. A note sale in March to get at least some funding. Token generating event 1 month ago. Token is now nuked as all the exchanges sold their allocation day one, while most users couldn't claim. That's not great. Ambassador deals changing from payment in US dollars to payment in token last minute. Employees allegedly not getting paid. Can't be verified for sure, but they're just throwing it out there. An alleged deal with Binance Alpha, which didn't happen as they didn't have 450,000 for the listing. So if you want to know behind the scenes, imagine to get listed on Binance, you need to spend $450,000. Go look on Binance, see how many tokens there are, add up 450,000 by that number. Oh, baby. They are looking good. So oddly enough, Soulbound TV was something that actually sent me a DM at one point. I'm pretty stingy on the DMs. Like, unless we have somebody that we really know, I don't trust it. But before, this is kind of like what it looked like. Soulbound TV is excited to announce Coinbase on-ramp is now integrated and live with the help of on-chain kit and Coinbase Dev. So you had some positive news with it. Looking like a streaming platform. You check it out. Decentralize your television. Next-gen live streaming. The largest on-chain streaming platform. And it's powered by the SPX token. So what sort of happened with this? We've seen multiple companies go and try to do some form of Web3 streaming. Abstract streaming seems like it's one of the closest ones to actually having more sustainable success in some form, where you have streamers that are out there, they're actively doing it. There are people that are looking at those chats to see what's going on. But I mean, Valhalla was another one where they tried, it didn't work. It's very, very weird in that situation. But they made a token generating statement from before, so we can do a little bit of a retrospective. I won't read the whole thing, but, well, that sucked. No sugarcoating it. We're not going to pretend otherwise. It went badly, and we take full responsibility. So going into your token generating event, and this is the PR statement you have to put out. We signed exchange and listing agreements a few weeks ago, and from that moment, we had no option but to launch. But the mistake wasn't the launch date. The mistake was everything that led up to it. We should have launched 2 or 3 years ago when there was nothing but hype and a deck. So this is... how do I word this the right way without coming across like condescendingly? There's a very frequent pattern where it's blaming one particular thing when that one particular thing is kind of a flimsy argument, because they're not wrong, right? If they launched a couple of years ago, absolutely there was hype. We've looked at the VCs, they were just like, you're doing anything, hallelujah. But there has to be more to it than just, oh, the market, didn't work. We did all this stuff. I mean, listings fell through. I don't know. Let's see, right? But we're like pundits now. Like, you don't want to rip on anybody, but it's like, okay, it feels like we're making excuses for things that, like, maybe the market just wasn't ready for that particular product, which we've seen, right? Like, the centralized insurance is one that absolutely was a thing that was trying to happen before and never did, and now we're seeing a bunch of them trying to come back. The exchanges dumped, the market maker didn't perform, but those choices were ours. We agreed to the terms, we spent the investor capital to build a badass platform. We thought we could time it better. We were wrong. So the timing, the questions, right, we held for years around people that were building on Web3 rails. What was the reason for the delays? Was it they were waiting for better market conditions, and they thought they could raise, trying to see if they could find some sort of like a product market fit? I feel like there could be a huge public relations class that could just be formed off the NFT space and seeing how things have progressed from pivots to closures to rebrands. So we'll get to rebrands here in a few moments. Did you double check that Luma invite? With conferences, events ramping up again, it's crucial to verify any email you receive claiming to be official Luma invites, as imposters are actively sending fake invites. So I've actually talked with Travis John regarding this, and he had an event in New York, and people there was a collection that minted like fake passes that somehow got traction, or somebody got a DM and they thought that it was real, and people were buying these because it was a sold out event, but they were scam ones. And realized there's unbelievably large amounts of emails that have been compromised. You'll get texts, you'll get emails, most of it just ignore. But be very, very cautious moving forward. So you see something on the timeline, and then you keep seeing it over and over and over again, and it gets people talking. So Wave, who's a person, it's just, you know, somebody chats on the timeline for this monad. They got their ape avatar in a card. It says, supporter of the arts, creates or supports art and NFTs, probably has a collection. And then I saw VGF, Luma, the true OG, respected unk in the space, revered for experience or influence. Why are you still here? Okay, so I got two friends that are into this. Or what is it? So then you go and check it out. And this is what we reference when people talk about social capital and Monad. Monad cards, a token of appreciation for crypto Twitter. 5,000 active crypto Twitter accounts are eligible to claim. Each can nominate 3 friends. 10,000 nominations will be accepted on a first-come, first-served basis. Should probably claim before it closes. So then this is starting a little bit of FOMO on the timeline because people are like, oh my God, how do I get invites? Do I know somebody? And then you have the flip side of the coin where people are asking or bringing up, okay, so we're doing like sign up for the invite, get a token, dump it, leave immediately. And we're going back through the same pattern. So what is the successful way or the surefire way to successfully launch a chain, get attention? We've seen it so much. And again, back to the public relations class. I mean, there's a study here. Listen, we could, I don't know, the theses that could be written. There's a lot. So Meebits up 25% on the up trading cycle. People realizing, hey, if I have 5 Meebits and I need 7 of them to be able to buy one of the rare ones from the team. Very interesting usage for the treasury from Meebits. Love to see it. So Paul Barron, I haven't actually listened to this clip, so it could be absolutely terrible, but an XRP DeFi season is hurtling towards Pol, AVAX, Arbitrum, and Base, a massive liquidity unlock. What exactly does this say?
F assets in general, whether that's XRP, BTC, I think you're going to see that penetrate into multiple different ecosystems. So not just Quickshop at Polygon, potentially AVAX, Arbitrum, Base. So the opportunity, last time I checked, I think the FDV of XRP was something in the realm of $150 billion, right?
Yeah, it's actually around 300 billion, but an opportunity here that's even bigger.
So well, back to the point of people bringing up, okay, well, we could have certain chains take off and have seasons. And we saw before, as an example, there was, I think it was SEI, and randomly their NFTs took off. It was a newer chain. All of a sudden, it went to like $1 per token, pretty high valuation for the time that it was out. NFT communities really got traction, and then the main marketplace didn't do anything. Like, I don't know if they pivoted or they changed it to try to support community ran marketplaces, but I haven't seen anything regarding, say, since then. But we have seen seasons where, whether it's DeFi, whether it's NFTs, different chains are going to do different things. And of course, XRP, that high FDV. So why do I have Burger King on the screen that says Whopper, Whopper, Whopper? Well, because the Pudgy Penguin account responded, Pengu, 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 Pengu. And then Burger King said, you're following along. And this post got 42,000 views. The Pudgy one, 15,000. Burger King, 9,000. How much does it cost to get brand awareness on socials? How much is the value of having a diehard community going crazy, responding to things like it's culture, like it's digital online culture? Pudgy Penguin posts, okay, listen, let's jump in, get attention to this. People see, oh my goodness, here's the brand, and it goes on. So earlier we asked the question, what the hell is going on with the CyberKongz? They were supposed to do an announcement about a new coin. And then after we were live, they announced it.
Amazing moment yesterday.
The first NFT ever sold at auction, expensive NFT ever sold. One of the 20 most expensive works of art, period.
During its third quarter, NFT trading volume hit $10.7 billion, $722.5 million.
Oh my God! Like what the hell?
Projects like CryptoPunk,
Biggest NFT trading platform
celebrities, once talking them,
drop off
have
and
now
disappear.
gone
Projects
silent.
have disappeared.
That video was so good. Honestly, we're gonna highlight some things that FUD the token a little bit here to be completely transparent. But that was, holy shit, that was such a good video. Damn, the edits on that were really cool. And again, remember the other day we highlighted the fact that Doodles, they changed up their icon, right, and trying to not do the Dreamscape thing. They're doing something a little bit different. There's in the quote unquote altcoin world, NFT coins, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of changes. Yo, Peckham, what's going on? I see a live thing happening. You got her. Love to see you. Love the pose. Hope you're doing well. So then you see that announcement, and we didn't go through the rest of it, but here's an example. Kongs will have a total supply of 1 billion. Any banana token that were bought or held can be converted to Kong at a 1-to-25 ratio. 2% of the supply will be airdropped to the Ethereum NFT community. More details on this soon. So when we say Ethereum NFT community, do we just by default say everything that was in that graphic earlier today that included chimpers, that included cool cats, that included rec guys are going to get the token? Very interesting. Again, we continue to see collections trying to widely distribute their token. I don't know how successful it's been. I feel like, yeah, for doing that, because again, everybody just wants to do whatever they're doing. But yeah, people that come out and they see something and they say, this is precisely what killed altcoins. Being able to simply cancel support for your existing token so you can sell a brand new one is bad precedent. So we've seen and been a part of multiple collections that have gone out and changed what their token was. Pixel Vault originally had their Punks token and then the POW, and then they switched it over to GG. The Root Network, they had Sens, and then now it's the Root Network, and there's many such cases. Well, Banana is now turning into Kongs. And then you have the community that comes out saying it's not killing support for the previous token. Banana turns into the new token, hence the 1-to-25 ratio of Banana to Kong, since the new token has a larger supply. Who fought the SEC and won? It was you, Cac. So you FUD without understanding even what you're saying. And this is what, listen, you can see all their Kong's profile, right? Like the Pudgy thing before, we highlighted and everybody's like, oh, let me go look at this. Well, listen, all these communities are out there to fight for what they think is right. And it's time to party. Henry the Great also just saying in general, this is a normal quote tweet, not talking about before. Since day one, Wall Street Kongs, which was their Discord alpha group. So if you look at Peckham on the timeline, he's trying to give you all the alpha on that. There was a Discord where they made calls of saying, hey, this token's a buy, pay attention to this NFT mint, whatever it may be. And so it was a place for people that were really passionate about the space to kind of hang out. Now, obviously, there's a lot of live streams, a whole bunch of different communities, and everybody's really segregated. But in the earlier days, Wall Street Kongs was a very, very famous gated Discord to the CyberKongz community. Has been a place to catch the signal before the noise. 4+ years later, 4+ years of being early to every move the space has thrown at us. Banana set the foundation. Kong is the future. If you're looking for alpha, real connections, and a community that stood the test of time, you know where to go. And one of the big things that CyberKongz focused on early on was creating guilds around games. A lot of games really haven't amounted to much, and there's a lot of that have also shut down. But Kate Irwin giving an opinion, because everybody's giving opinions. We love it. Crypto games keep shutting down because there are no players. That's the elephant in the room. Some of the biggest gaming chains and games are dead with no users, and despite showing numbers to the contrary, the numbers can be misleading, especially on permission chains. There's still such a massive lack of transparency in the space. Don't take what you see at face value. And I agree with this. Also, I keep saying, hey, look at the infrastructure that's behind things instead of individual games. Because sure, if there's an individual game that does extremely well, and we'll use Cambria as an example because I've played it a little bit. I haven't played their new like Duel Arena, but they had a thing where for the Founders Passes, or if you had a certain amount of X, Y, and Z asset, you got this super rare out of like 300 in-game companion. And I'm like, whoa, that's going to be absolutely brilliant. Which reminds me, if I can go on a little bit of a rant for uno momento, I was scrolling on YouTube a little bit earlier today, and there was a video suggested to me for Runescape, which is sort of funny because I haven't played there in quite some time. And it was somebody that was max level, they had all the best gear, and I was looking at it saying, if I went and I try to do what that person has done, achievement-wise, whatever it may be. It would take me forever. And then what if my account gets suspended? And so I've had an account compromised before. I said, you know what? I'm going to get back into old school RuneScape. And within like 3 weeks or something, the account was compromised. Like, I had 2-factor authentication. I was like, I have never had this happen to me before. And then boom, the account's gone. Because they got flagged for some sort of cheating or whatnot, which again, like on chain, they're trying to prevent that. So this is sort of like a weird argument, I suppose. But the amount of time and effort that that person put in for those collectibles to then not have them have basically any real world value, they've taken X amount of your life. Even if you're selling that for like a very minute amount, it still has value to it because it protects somebody else from having to do that same grind that you did, but it's in a digital fashion. And I'm just, I don't know. You put your password 100% somewhere. I don't remember it at all, to be honest, Andrew. I really don't, but it was a weird time because I was super excited. And we were playing it quite often too. And I've never had that happen before, except for actually, no, there was one time on like the, what was it called? The Pudgy Penguins? No, that's an NFT collection. Penguin Puzzle? What the hell was the mini clip game that was puzzle? About penguins. I don't even remember. That's insane. But back to the conversation where we had a moment ago about Beanie saying, can't do the new token. Enzo's responding saying, I think this is precisely what makes building so arduous in the space currently. People with influence and reach take segments of an announcement out of context and frame it in a narrative that will get them engagement. I kind of agree with that. Not all the time, right? But we definitely see some certain takes that are like, all right, you're just trying to rage bait people. I don't think the Beanie Post was that, to be transparent, but it's an existing token that was rebranded for more intentional and sustained purpose that was discussed with the community prior and got overwhelming approval. There was no pre-sale, no extraction, yet you frame it as such and your audience will take your word for it. But I understand with X monetization and Cato that the game is game, just a massive shame for genuine teams that try in the space. So this is also at the same time where we sort of have blinders on, or maybe just like a lack of realizing that we've seen where it's not always been the case where a token rebrand has been something that's good. There's been countless times where it's not been. So the thesis, when we look at these chains launching and saying, okay, they're doing all of this to get users onto it. You get the airdrop and then you sell it and you leave. And then chains keep doing that and they're like, why does this keep happening? Even though you know that that's the path that it's going on. Now, I think we've seen some cases where the token rebrand has been successful. So for argument's sake, let's just say it's 50-50. But you always have like the perception of, okay, because it's you or whatever like you're into, it's meant as a huge attack where, I don't know, again, for argument's sake, you can kind of fence it on it. Did you use the Steam to log into OSRS? Did you use Steam? No, I don't think I used Steam. I didn't even know you could do that. Parker, I was drained for $60,000, 350 SOL last week by the guy who seems to be draining everyone. In 4 years of crypto, I have never been drained. Why we're seeing this sort of post happen 2 to 3 times a day. And if you've been active watching these streams, we've highlighted them. This guy was a social engineering pro. He gets you to show him how to set up an Axiom while screen sharing on Discord and pays you 20 to 50 Solana upfront to do so. His social engineering skills were top notch, acting confused, acting like he was scared of you hacking him, asking you to take extra precautions so he doesn't see any of your information. While you're screen sharing, he somehow captures the password off your Axiom wallet. Not sure how, because they copied the password off stream and then posted it. I'm a little bit confused because Axiom, like, is that just like a wallet on Solana? And somebody was going to pay them 20 SOL to show them how to set up a wallet. There's something about that doesn't make sense unless Axiom is something else. And I understand that this probably looks very weird because I'm like, I don't really know. But like the whole thing seems a little bit off to me. And we got another one. If there's ever an inkling in your mind that something is a scam, chances are it is in fact a scam. Even if it looks and sounds legit, it's probably a scam. If I message you on Telegram or WhatsApp, chances are it's a scam. The whole world wants to take your tokies. Guard them. Pretty sure this is a phishing scam. Oh. I mean, I feel like Gucci wouldn't have that kind of bland background. That's something that I would come up with. But Gucci wouldn't do that. The Coda NFT pendant has been conceived in partnership with Yuga Labs, uniting craftsmanship and contemporary culture and digital form. Again, a bunch of emails are compromised. Maybe if you had one of the Codas or something to do with Yuga and you saw that, you think, hey, maybe this is legit. I know I missed it, but maybe now they're back opening it up. Don't do that. Bo, you know what's horrible bearish take when you post something like this but disable replies? Holy Lord. All right, Kenneth saying, so this is the Harvard economist that said that Bitcoin was more likely to be worth $100 than 100,000. And then Harvard went out and bought Bitcoin at like 116,000 and spent like multiple millions of dollars, not hundreds of millions. What did I miss? I was far too optimistic about the US coming to its senses about sensible cryptocurrency regulation. Why would policymakers want to facilitate tax evasion and illegal activities? And now they're fudding everything. Okay. Second, I did not appreciate how Bitcoin would compete with fiat currencies to serve as the transactions medium of choice in the $20 trillion global underground economy. This demand puts a floor on its price. As I discussed at length in my new book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Oh, so he's just making this point of saying, hey, I wrote this article before. Now let me show you my book to go and buy. Wonderful space. SEC Chair Paul Atkins to discuss Project Crypto today. Okay, you're having not PTSD, you're having deja vu because we brought that up earlier and we have liftoff. What happened? Paul Atkins saying the president's working group on digital asset markets released clear recommendations for the SEC, and we're setting out to implement them as soon as we can. We have a president who understands the importance of making America the crypto capital of the world. We must craft a framework that future-proofs the crypto markets against regulatory mischief. I look forward to working with my counterparts across the administration and Congress to get the job done. So what I said earlier was anything about Project Crypto as a potential to move markets. Well, not if it's like a subtweet and a thread that's got like barely any views on it and nobody really cares about it because it's just, oh, okay, cool, we're having this conversation. And eventually something is going to happen. True. Virtual Bacon, also mentioning Project Crypto to give this a little bit of validity, right? Making some undervalued calls on some tokens, but saying with SEC's Project Crypto paving the way for fee sharing plus clear rules, I think DeFi will be the core ETH narrative this cycle. Earlier, we also saw Matt looking at DeFi as well. That's going to be it for this second edition of the podcast, but XFeed, thank you so much for coming on through. If you do want to listen to the podcast, again, the link's in the description down below here on YouTube or on my bio on X. Mr. Not Good, thank you so much for coming on through. Peckham as well, and Tully, and anyone watching afterwards. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal. See you tomorrow as per usual. Have yourself a good one. Peace.